I do think something's happened in feminism in the past, say, 10 years that has driven a lot of us to assert the primacy of the body much more than we were doing. I think it's because there's been this trend towards, I don't know, sex denialism, flight from the
Mm.
body, whatever you want to call it, which has always been there a bit in the sense that that's the way some women have seen liberation, as kind of denying the body. It's got much more intense in recent years, and I think there are many of us that feel that we've had to like choose which way to jump, to either kind of deny the body has any importance, or to actually really insist on it and really interrogate it in a way that we haven't had to do earlier. I think before there was a kind of assumption that the body did matter, but you could downplay it a bit. But I think we can't now. But I think that's quite interesting and quite exciting for feminism at the moment.
You write about this in the book. There's fear that if women talk about the differences in their bodies, that will then giving up equality. So how do we balance that if we say actually women aren't as strong as men? We do have these physical differences, and yet we should still be allowed to do all the same jobs they can. Like, I mean, I use the word allowed there slightly with caution, but how do we balance that, acknowledging difference but still demanding equality?
I think we really have to get away from the idea that difference means inferiority, which I think that gets really instilled into women and girls, and from quite an early age. I think I felt it very much when I was growing up, that kind of ideas about female intellectual or moral or physical inferiority were always there whenever you admitted or focused on any physical difference between women and men. And there's this fear of celebrating anything that women can do that men can't do, because that will be used against us. But I think as long as you are in denial of it, I think there's always this little voice in you that is thinking, well, maybe we are inferior. Maybe, if you're going to deny how important our physical differences are, I think it shows a kind of lack of confidence in the fact that we are just as valuable and just as important and in no way inferior to men. So, I think you have to kind of celebrate the things we can do, but also be really careful to analyze the differences and what they really mean, because there are so many false interpretations put onto difference. This idea that men are stronger than women. I think it's really important if we're looking at something like male violence, but it doesn't mean that their bodies are in some essential way better than ours. They're not. I mean, we give birth,
Mm,
for
mm.
instance.
And also, you write so interestingly in the book about your own personal history of trying to deny the body. And I think there is that real interesting irony in there has been this long history, like you say, of women our age, older, insisting we're the same, we can do whatever boys can. And yet the way we try to deny our bodies is often extremely bodily led. Like you and I both had anorexia. Other women, try to, the only way you can prove it is basically punishing your body. So in the end, you can't get away from your body.
Yeah, and this kind of denial of the body, it's on the one hand, it's this trying to prove you're just as good, that you're this kind of, I think I quoted Maria Hornbacker's Wasted, where she talks about wanting to be this pure mind, this pure brain, and not have anything to do with the body at all. But actually, this denial is very feminine in some way. It's very
Mm.
submissive. In the end, it's not really asserting yourself. It's denying your own growth. And you see this, now I think, I've written quite a bit about the use of binders
Mm.
and the way that it's crushing yourself to
Mm.
be considered of the same status
Mm.
as the male people around you. And they're not crushing themselves. They're just being in their bodies. And that's what we should be.